January 5th. It's also day 2 of the no Mr. Jeffrey era, the post Mr. Jeffrey era, which, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, made it difficult to prepare for the show today, knowing that there wouldn't be Mr. Jeffrey here to just give his endless support and always be there for the answer, like an AI whenever we need something. Give us fun facts. So like I said, he will be missed. But anyway, Doug, how are you handling this?
I kind of hoped he would send me a little note after yesterday's shout out, and I've heard nothing. So that means he probably didn't
there was
listen.
something. He commented on YouTube.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, and he said thanks for the shout out, and he said he will miss everybody and all that stuff. But I just wondered, how come he couldn't get to the show, but he was able to get to that like an hour after the show and listen to it and know that we were. Is it just that his hours are off? Does he still have free time? It's just not quite aligned with the show.
I don't know.
We can move the show if need be by an hour. If that's all it took. We can make that happen.
Yeah. We can accommodate. We're accommodating people,
Yeah, so we'll see if he sees this show as well from his new job, and see if he has a response of some kind. Anyway, what's going on, Doug? Anything else? I made some good beans last night. We got our Rancho Gordo shipment. That's my bean club, my exclusive bean club that you listening to the show probably not in, because you have to be cool. You had to be early. You had to be known. You had to be an influencer. At least I think. I don't know. We somehow jumped to the top of that list, so I don't know how. Actually, I do know how. We waited for like 9 months. But
so you don't have to be an influencer.
No, I don't think so. Maybe now you do. We had to be early. That's for sure, and we were early. But anyway, I cooked up some borlotti beans, which is, if you get cranberry beans in the U.S., that's a borlotti bean, but it's not as good as the real heirloom Italian variety. So this was that. Had a nice little bean dish with some good toasted bread on the side and some asparagus. Nice little healthy dinner. It was very nice. Nice to have, courtesy of Rancho Gordo.
I had burritos. I really did. That not a joke.
I have notes on it. I wouldn't expect it to be a joke. It's the most likely outcome.
I was out mowing the lawn. Usually, I'm the one who cooks up the burritos, but I was out mowing the lawn and came in for dinner, and sure enough, burritos were being served.
There you go. Good. All right.
Have you? I got a question for you. Have you ever tried the to remove the excess water from tofu? Have you ever tried the boiling water and salt?
No, never. What is this? What
technique?
Is this magic? No, how does it work?
So I just learned about it today. I think I'm going to try it tonight. I was watching as I was getting ready I was looking at YouTube, getting ready for the show. And let's see, who's the name of the person? But anyway, while I'm looking that up, the technique is you pour boiling water, you cube up the tofu, you put it in a bowl, you pour boiling water and some salt in there, and the salt pulls out all the excess moisture from the tofu, and when you dump it out, you're left with pretty dry tofu.
Wow. That's very counterintuitive. I mean, I know salt pulls moisture out of things. I just didn't know you could soak something in a bunch of water, even if there is salt, and expect it to come out with less water. So that's amazing if it works.
Yeah.
Is there like a second stage when you then?
No, then you just kind of like pat it dry, but you don't. But I guess a lot of the moisture has been pulled out from the salt.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of pat it dry, and then it was Rainbow Plant Life's new video. I tried every way to make crispy tofu. This is the best one. That's right.
Wow.
She had a couple good techniques. Ripping the tofu instead of cubing it, for better crisp. And she tried pan frying.
Then it sticks, things and falls apart if I do that.
Yep. She tried pan frying, deep frying, air frying, and baking. And
was there a favorite?
Landed on. She was scoring them in a number of ways, and landed on. Well, you know what? I'm not going to spoil it. You got to watch the video. We like Rainbow Plant Life over here.
Text it to me in the private thing or something, because I'm not going to watch that. But I'd love to know how to get the best result. I'd also like some sort of physicist, astrophysicist, or molecular biologist, or whatever would be the appropriate science to tell us how that would work. How would putting tofu into water with salt come out with less water? It's just, I mean, I don't doubt that it works, because especially if you tested it and tried different things. I'm just amazed that works.
Moisture is drawn towards the salt.
Right. I understand that. But it's just sitting in water. So it doesn't seem to me that so
But
like does
the non-salty water will be drawn towards the salt water.
and what will fill the space that it leaves?
Nothing.
Air that's not there.
Air.
Right? Nothing. You have a vacuum now inside the tofu?
Good question.
That's what I'm saying. We need a physicist to tell us what's going on here, because I'd love to know how.
Mr. Jeffrey, when you need him, you know?
Right, exactly. Perfect example of why we need him. All right. Well, please, if you're listening to this on the podcast or whatever, go to YouTube and then tell us. I'm only asking because I think those people are generally smarter than the group we have here, and because they don't show up to this every day, so they got to be a little bit smarter, and many more of them listening to the podcast. So anyway, go to the YouTube thing and leave a comment. YouTube.com/No Meat Athlete. Tell us how it works. All right. Anyway, we've got a couple bean things here. Jessica wants to know if the beans are dry, and yes, they are. And Vegan Science answered, all the Rancho Gordo beans are dried. I don't even think they sell any kind of canned beans. And Vegan Science also says, try the Mayocoba beans, creamiest beans. You get them in 25-pound bags in Costco in California. I think those have come in the Rancho Gordo shipments from time to time. That sounds like a familiar name. I'm not positive, but I think so. And I mean, I don't know if they're the best, because all the Rancho Gordo ones are always good, but I don't doubt it. Okay. Carmen wants to know, like Doug, please just tell us what the best method is from Rainbow Plant Life.
Okay. So she landed on pan frying because she was looking at crispiness and then also ease. So deep frying created the most crispy, but it was the biggest mess, most challenging.
Yeah.
Baking was the worst. Air frying scored really well on both ease and crispiness, but but in her air fryer, which was like your standard size, you could only fit about half a block of tofu, so it took longer. So the pan frying ended up being the best, and she says slightly crispier than the air frying, but I don't know, I challenged that. And extra firm, and then she prefers the saltwater technique, and she tested potato starch, arrowroot starch, and cornstarch, and preferred the arrowroot.
For putting on before you fry or bake or whatever?
Yes, so just coat it in a little bit of salt, pepper, and arrowroot starch, and then and oil, and then you bake it.
Okay. Interesting. I like it. Yeah, I mean, the pan frying is always a reliable thing. It just, that still is a little too much work and mess for me compared to air fryer. Air fryer is so much easier. But I never really do the arrowroot or cornstarch when I'm air frying, and I probably should try that. I just spray a little olive oil, but yeah, give it a try. I'm trying the saltwater thing too. That sounds good. And if it actually makes your tofu salty, that would be kind of nice too, because I like that.
Oh, and if you're crumbling it, like if you're pulling it, tearing it instead of cubing it, then do the saltwater technique first and then pull it, not the other way around, because it'll hold together better.
Wow. Interesting. And I would be surprised that would do anything unless you left it for hours and hours in there, a whole block of tofu. But again, I don't understand this method, so what can we say? I can't deny it. All right. Good. Yeah, I don't have too much else. I continued my movie watching, I finished Breakfast Club, got a little better at the end, so I didn't hate it. And then I began a movie that has special meaning for me and you, Doug, Kingpin.
Oh.
Classic movie. Remember on the book tour, which you came on, and then we picked up Matt Rosigno, and somehow we watched the movie early in the trip, and then we just kept having all these references to it, like as if we were dictionary salesmen.
I can't remember where we watched it.
Somebody's house, one of his friends or something, somewhere in California, Arizona, or something. Yeah, anyway, goofy movie. Watched it a bit with Holden, and he got some laughs out of it. It's fun. I laughed.
So when I was a kid, probably about Holden's age, my dad created a list, or maybe found a list, early internet days, of like 50 movies that you should watch with your son, kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
they're just like classics, and we worked through it. Over the next several years, we worked through it.
Oh yeah, I'll have to look that up. Probably won't find the same list, but I'm sure there are good lists out there. Yeah, that's cool. We'll do that. All right, good. Well, we didn't say hello to people yet, except for Jessica, who commented on Vegan Science. But Kate's here, Carmen to Borland. I saw Matt O'Connor, Phyllis Hauser, Brandon Turner, and Garuda Legends, who's giving the hello to Jessica. All right, so there you go. There's who's here, who has, or at least who has commented. There's more people here than that. But that's who has said hello to us. So hello to you guys. Good morning. And with that, I guess we'll jump into our weather report. We got a couple good little spicy items today. Some good news and some not so bad. In fact, literally spicy things. That some bad news about that. But anyway, here we go. First up, Doug, veggie puffs. You know what the veggie puff snack category is?
Sure, like veggie straws.
That was my guess. Yeah, I think so. Because it says they're made from things like beets, carrots, potatoes, and tomatoes, and that's pretty much the ingredients in those veggie straws, along with a bunch of other junk that's here. But anyway, the ones made by Lesser Evil and Serenity Kids. That Lesser Evil sounds like a familiar brand. I don't know Serenity Kids. I don't even know if I really do know Lesser Evil. But Consumer Reports did a little investigation, and they found that they have, but those two brands specifically have high concerning levels of lead. Which is linked to developmental and other disabilities in children specifically. So that's very bad. I think they did say they did set some sort of serving recommendation. I don't have it right here. I don't think it was something like one serving a day or one a week or something. It wasn't like it was like you can't have this ever, but they still found it concerning. So figured worth covering just because probably in this audience there's a lot of people who pick that over potato chips or something like that.
Lesser Evil is a terrible name.
Lesser Evil.
That means they're still evil, right? Like No Evil. You know, there was an Astro company, No Evil Foods, that I used to love. They went out of business. The whole.
Oh, they're going. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're gone. That was the whole. I don't know. They up and left out of nowhere. Oh no, that was.
Wait, I thought that was Roots Hummus who did that.
It was, but No Evil Food also collapsed. But no evil means that there's no evil, right? I mean, lesser evil. Like I don't know if I feel like that.
It's accurate, right? I mean, that stuff I would say is a lesser evil, at least for animals. Well, no, I mean they're comparing it to like I don't know, potato chips and stuff. Or I guess you could compare it to cheese puffs where there's some evil going on. Yeah, you're right. It's still a little bit evil. It's just still junk food.
I don't think I'd be able to eat it without thinking like, I don't know, a little evil here in here.
Yeah. Well, apparently the cassava-based brands have excessive amounts of lead. Cassava is tapioca flour, right? Am I correct about that? Anyway, they have excessive amounts of lead and other heavy metals. So there you go. Watch out for those. Lesser Evil makes Lil Puff's Intergalactic Voyager Veggie Blend. That's their Puffs brand.
Lots of love for the Lesser Evil popcorn in the comments right now.
Oh, okay. So I think I do know that brand. I'm looking it up real quick. No, I don't. That's not a brand I know. All right. Well, anyway, hopefully their popcorn is safe from this concern. Seems like it would be because it doesn't contain the. It sounds like the cassava flour is the issue, but I'm not sure. Okay, moving on to the next one. My screen's a little blurry today. Big cultivated eel tasting fed 40 guests at from Israel's 4C Foods in Tel Aviv at the restaurant A, letter A, lowercase letter A. That's the name of the restaurant. Anyway, it's I don't know why it's a big deal. I don't know what the Israel rules on cultivated meat are, but 40 people got to try eel on a bed of aromatic rice, and they said the feedback from diners was indeed uplifting. Several said they wouldn't have guessed that the unagi, I guess that means eel, I don't know, was cell cultivated had they not been informed. So that means that the others maybe would have known that. I don't really know, but there you go. People are tasting eel. I don't know how long it's gonna be till we get our hands on something. Hopefully not eel, but some other.
Yeah, that wouldn't be my first choice. I don't think.
No, definitely not. All right, and here's the spicy but bad news.
Let's bring it.
Hoi Fong Foods. Does that sound familiar to you?
Does not.
Not to you? I bet someone in the audience can pull it.
How should I know? How do I know Hoi Fong?
Just because it's written on the package in smaller print than.
Oh yeah. Okay, got it.
So then, okay, no one's answering. But they're the makers of the famous sriracha, that one with the rooster on it, that very bright, vibrant orange color. they're have supply. They're halting production again. You may remember this happened in April 2020, just as we were all in COVID, most needing that sriracha. They said no more for a while, and it went away for a long time. I remember you just couldn't get it. You had to do the backup, the other brands, and they're really honestly never as good. Although I have found one that is. But anyway, they've now said it's happening again. The chili supply is too green to proceed. They need the chilies to be green. They start out green, then they become this chocolate color, then they become red. And I think that's the only way they're going to get that orange vibrant color they have is with these things being fully red and probably the flavor too. So for whatever reason, the chili crop was a problem. Somebody said no one wants a puke colored hot sauce. And other chili experts are saying it will impact the flavor. Taste matters. So yeah, not good. You have to find a backup. And I meant before the show to have mine prepared for you so I could give people a strong recommendation of one that I actually now buy instead of Hoi Fong brand. I buy a different one. Let's see if I can quickly search my text and find
While
it.
you're doing that, I have some somewhat alarming sriracha news myself.
Okay.
Spicy sriracha news myself. So I have a hot sauce. I'm the only one who eats hot sauce in my family. No one else.
Oh, really? All those burritos, nobody else puts any hot sauce on them?
No, I mean we had spice, of course, but no hot sauce. But I have a little shelf in the fridge because I do like hot sauce. Not a ton. I mean, I'm not dumping it on everything, but a reasonable amount of hot sauce. And yesterday, Katie was,
says Daddy's hot sauces don't touch.
What's that?
Is there like a little sign that says Daddy's hot sauces do not touch in your shelf?
No, but anytime there's like something good that I don't want people to eat, I just put it behind the hot sauces. But I'm just about out of sriracha, and Katie got the bottle. She was looking at it. She's like, "Oh, we need to add some more." And she just happened to be like holding it and looking at it, and realized that it expired in 2021.
Yeah. That stuff's good forever, though, right? All that hot heat in there, vinegar.
That's what I said. But 3 years is kind of a long time to be past the best by date.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that happens a lot with us. With even salsas sit there forever in our fridge, and I always wonder is the acidity of those tomatoes enough to just keep that edible forever? But probably not. All right, the brand that I like is Melinda's. Melinda's Sriracha hot sauce. They had some sort of clever name, and I'm forgetting what it was. I'll look for that later. When I Google that, though, in the sponsored, buy it now links that happen right at the top of Google, a Hoi Fong 8.5-pound sriracha sauce, big, restaurant size jars. And I thought, oh, what shortage? It's fine. Then you look at it, it says get it by 10/06, October 6th.
Whoa.
Unless I'm on VPN Spain and it's giving me European dates and it's actually June 10th. So that's pretty much different. That's probably what it is. All right. Anyway, there you go. So Melinda's, that's my recommendation. Anyone chiming in to throw their support behind Melinda's? I don't see it happening, but I'm telling you, that's the one to get. It's in normal stores, Whole Foods, maybe Harris Teeter. Not sure about Publix.
Like your typical grocer, or is it a specialty item?
Yeah. I don't think it's that specialty of a thing. But I'm telling you, it's good. Just I don't know. It's not too sweet. Has good complex chili flavor. It's good. Although if its problem is the chili crop, then it's not just Hoi Fong who's going to be in trouble. So maybe we can expect a decline in all their quality. All right, on to the next. Man, my screen is so blurry. It's like my Google Doc's not loaded, but I'm just going to have to keep going. All right, Bayer. Bayer, the pharmaceutical company. I assume this is the same company. I'm not positive. Didn't do that much research, but I think it's the same. They've partnered with Pairwise to use that CRISPR thing, CRISPR, I think, where they modify the genes and all that. And they are coming up with a mustard green that doesn't have the bitterness. They remove the spicy wasabi flavor, revealing a pleasant, unique flavor, according to Pairwise. And they're going to do this with other greens too, they say, to improve the flavor and the nutrition of the greens. I don't like that it's Bayer doing it. If this is actually the same Bayer, and I'm pretty sure that it is, like I said. Anyway, I don't know, Doug, you can't be a fan of this.
I'm not a fan of this at all. No.
We saw it with the tomatoes that they were doing and some kind of some other thing. I forget what it was, purple pineapple or something.
Mhm.
I have always learned and heard that with those cruciferous vegetables, the bitter stuff is like, I think it's called organosulfur compounds, and they're related to the sulforaphanes. Maybe they even are the sulforaphanes. I don't really know that for sure, but or sorry, so sulforaphane is just one thing. But that bitterness is what, like, the reason it is good for you. It's the same, those very compounds that make it taste bitter, and all those cruciferous vegetables: broccoli, cauliflower, mustard greens, uh, radishes. What else? There are many more. I'm blanking on them, but arugula. They have that distinctive flavor, and that, so I just can't see how you remove that and improve nutrition at the same time. It seems like not a
Yeah.
good idea. Just playing God at the
I
end.
mean, there are plenty of non-bitter greens,
Right.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
why do you need to remove the bitterness? I like mustard greens.
Very good.
When I want mustard greens, I want that flavor. Same with
Exactly. Right.
kale
Yeah.
or
What,
something.
like, right. It just, I mean, the only good thing that would come of this for me is you now get a new, flavor profile of a green.
Mm.
So you have an option for a new thing that has the other notes of mustard greens without the bitterness. And I guess that could be good. Maybe that's going to give you something that spinach or some other non-bitter green doesn't give you. But like you use those things because they're bitter. That's part of, what their role. So
Mhm.
it's very strange to me. Do not love this one. And plus then it's GMO, and if that's a concern for you, then they're not gonna be good.
Well, as Gregory Green says, GMO is the future. Get used to it. And I'm not scared of GMO products. Like I don't.
Mhm.
I really don't pay any attention to that.
I don't
But
know. I mean, we talked about it before. I kind of would have pegged you as a GMO fearer.
no, I'm really
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
I think, I mean, I like to grow my own stuff, but probably some of that's been modified at some point, or
Probably.
the
Yeah.
seeds are
Yeah.
like not quite what they were originally. But like I understand that probably essential for us to feed the 4 billion people or 7 billion or however many people there
Right. Right.
are. And so I mean we can't run from it. But I don't see why we're removing bitterness from our grains here.
Yeah, I am aligned with you there. I agree with Gregory Green. It probably is the future. And I think probably in the long run, much more good can come from mindful modification of things. Like you said, you get to then feed a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't have enough food. So like this can be a really good thing. And there's a bunch written about that. And I don't think it just automatically we're going to all be unhealthy if we're suddenly eating GMO mustard greens or GMO whatever. But the reasons they're doing it is just to make a new flavor, and it just doesn't seem like a trade-off I'd want to make. I don't know. Doesn't seem good.
Matt, I noticed the title has not been updated. I don't
Oh
think.
yeah, I didn't do that.
I'm gonna do
That's a
that.
mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and change that. Okay, well, I'll do that in a minute. On to the next thing. Last one. We know we like the legal cases here. I think I even have a gavel sound. Yeah, I do. Court is in session. Poppy prebiotic sodas. Doug, I know you like to do some reconnaissance of other companies and their marketing things. Is Poppy one that goes on your radar?
It is. I'm on their email
It is.
list. Yeah.
Okay, then you'll be excited to know they are now facing a class action lawsuit over false advertising. So don't copy that aspect of what they do.
I better
Or
not.
we're going to find ourselves served.
Mhm.
The lead plaintiff, Kristen Hobbs, has alleged that the prebiotic soda brand claims to provide prebiotic benefits, prebiotic, not probiotic, but prebiotic, despite it being, quote, basically sugared water. $5 million, or in excess of $5 million, is the claims in this class action lawsuit. And let's see, the brand's prebiotic claims stem from its use of the ingredient agave inulin, which is a natural soluble fiber from agave plants. And the suit says that agave inulin may function as a probiotic, but many adult consumers can gain benefits from prebiotics in a regular diet drink. So I guess they're saying there's really nothing here. Plus, consuming too much of that inulin can lead to adverse health results, they say. So there you go. Watch out, Poppy. Isn't there some other one of these soda brands that has probiotics?
Yeah, there's one
Olipop.
that's bigger than
Ollie.
Olipop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never have gotten into these. I mean, part of it is I'm just not really typically attracted to soda flavor. And also it seems kind of weird. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had one.
Right.
I never really wanted to invest the more spend more money on a soda that is basically just going to be a soda.
Yeah, I understand that. It just seems weird. I don't know. Sometimes when you make something that's really not healthy at all, and you try to say this is a healthy version of it, and you should actually drink it for your health, it's tough. It's just not. I don't know. I need more to change my mind and make me want that. So I never have had. I think my kids have had those things before, but I have not.
Vegan Stallion says, I really like Olipop soda, or whatever it's called, Olipop. It's made with probiotic sweeteners or prebiotic sweeteners.
Yep.
And Kate, Olipop is tasty but pricey. And Jessica says that we don't need to worry about copying them because we're both lawyers.
Right. Yeah, we wouldn't have to pay any lawyers. We would just do our work. We do our legal work for ourselves, and we give legal advice to others all the time. We also do financial advice and health advice because we're also doctors and we're also fiduciary. What's the word there? Series 7? I don't know. No, we're not any of that stuff. That's just a joke. An ongoing joke.
Not a doctor, not a lawyer, not a financial advisor.
No. But with AI, you cut out the middleman. Who needs any of those professions anymore?
Going back to GMO, Vegan Stallion says, I follow the science. I haven't seen any credible evidence that GMOs are bad for your health.
That's the thing. There's not really credible stuff. It's still sort of conspiracy theory level right now. So I'm kind of agreeing with it.
Our contrarian Garuda says, how about you just stop messing with food scientists and the pharmaceutical market? It's so annoying. But then Jessica comes back with, you can't feed 8 billion people on a carnivore diet.
That's the thing. I like Garuda's take there. Like, let's just stop messing with the food. Let's just have regular, normal food. And it's certainly going to be healthier that way. I don't think we're going to figure out how to make the food healthier than nature figured out, or than our bodies have adapted or evolved to eat this specific type of food. We're not going to improve on that, in my estimation, by making it better. But as someone pointed out, Gregory Green said, population projection is 12 billion by 2070. You're not doing that on organic grass-fed food. So that would be my question, Garuda. How do you propose to feed so many people with this food you're talking about? And that's people who have enough money, I think, maybe can always afford to eat the way that you're saying that they should, right? Untouched food, and that'd be a great thing to be able to do. But it's going to get harder and harder, I think.
We have Ali here. When it's GMO because they want to coat it in pesticides is the problem. They want to coat it in weed killer and other chemicals without it dying, so they modify it for that. That's not good.
Well, it is. I mean, that's not good when they're doing it because they want to just greedily increase profits or whatever. But like, is that part of the reason that the GMO food can feed more people, because it would allow them to grow much larger quantities? Because there won't be pest issues.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of the modification, I think, is the pests aren't even, like, they're kind of pest resistant
Yeah, so then you can at least avoid unhealthy pesticides going on it. Perhaps.
And
anyway, who knows? Big issues, not for us really.
Yeah. Is that the end of the weather report?
That is it. Yep.
Okay. I have an update. We can save this to tomorrow if we want. An update on the Spring Energy gel fiasco.
Oh no, yeah, let's do it. We don't have that much to do.
Okay, so Iron Far, which anyone who is into ultra running probably is familiar with Iron Far. Brian Powell was one of the first guests on No Meat Athlete Radio back many years ago. Right. Founder of Iron Far, and he wrote really what was probably at the time the first main ultra marathon training guide book.
Yes, that book. That's right. It was a great book.
What was it called, actually? Relentless Forward Progress.
Relentless Forward Progress. Yeah, I had a watermarked copy that I sent around to many people with said.
I used that a lot for many years. I used that and for various levels.
Yeah, it was a great book.
It was a good book.
I used it for my 100-miler, actually.
Yep. So they went ahead and did what I suggested happen. I'm sure they didn't listen to me. I'm sure they were way ahead of me on this, but they went ahead and tested 9 different brands. And with Spring Energy, they tested 3 different lots.
Iron Far tested?
Yeah. Or they like sent it off to the labs, but
right.
They did it. They ran a GoFundMe to raise a few $1,000s in order to pay for this.
Okay.
And then sent it off, and sure enough, the findings confirmed what was expected, which is that the Spring Energy products were were 30 to 48% of the expected calories. So
How much? 20 to 30?
30 to 48% of the expected calories.
Okay. Very low.
So less than half of what it was, and 28 to 36% of the expected carbs. I mean, that's
What was
bad,
the other
right?
calories? Well, like what
What?
else is the other calories in there? Protein?
Uh,
Fats?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, yeah, I
Um,
mean, that's terrible. Dangerous.
yeah, it is. It is. It's really bad. And they tested 3 different lots, 2 different flavors, and got the same results. Within that range. And then they tested 8 other honey stinger, huma, which I was worried about huma because huma is similar in that it tries to use more
Right.
natural ingredients.
Is Thrive, Brendan Brazier's brand, are they still doing any of that?
I don't know.
'Cause they were like really early on that mango gels with like real fruit. But anyway.
So honey stinger, huma, knack in AAK, goo, Martin, which I'd never even heard of, but everybody has been praising Martin recently. Precision and Science and Sport, SIS. And
Okay.
all the other 8 brands came in right around what was on the label. And I guess the FDA allows for a variance of 20% on either end, so 20% more, 20% less.
Okay.
And to still be considered, correct or within margin of error.
Right.
But these were not even within the 20%. Most of them are within like 5% of what's on the label. So, I mean, I guess that's a good thing for all the other brands and the industry in general, right? Like if they were all super low, like that would be concerning. But man, it is very damning for Spring Energy.
Yeah, that really is. I mean, I wonder how why they started doing this. Like you would think that people would definitely just without testing would notice that something's wrong when they use this product. Like if it's like an intense workout, 2-hour kind of run and you're pushing it hard for that long. Like if you were eating 30% of the calories you thought you were, or 30% of the carbohydrates, I mean, surely you'd have an effect if you're intelligently, picking how much you should have. Because on the bright side, those people, they'd all be testing carb depleted runs. Maybe they'll all turn out to be for the better for having trained,
Yeah,
for a couple of years, whatever, with very few carbs.
One of the oh man, blanking on his name. But he's a fat adapted. He's a paleo or keto, maybe ultra runner. Who's Zach Bitter. Holds I think a world record for the fastest or American record for the fastest 100-miler, which was like 9 hours or something like that on a track.
Okay.
So maybe not 9, but yeah, I mean I think it was in the 9s or 10s, really fast. He's like. The benefit or the pro of all this, the good news is that we're all we're more fat adapted than we realize.
True.
But so it started by just a Reddit user posted. He had some sort of at-home dehydration test thing where you could like dehydrate something and use the weight to figure out the carb weight.
Right.
And he posted he was just kind of playing around with it on a bunch of different things and posted that it looked like Spring Energy was way less than what they were advertising. Right. And so then that kind of started a couple other people, tested Jason Koop. And now this is the biggest test of the most brands that I've seen is this from Iron Far.
I mean, that could turn into a lawsuit, right? Of some kind, you would think.
I would think so. Class action. Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, keep us posted, Doug. I'm curious. I like this story. Interesting thing. And Matt O'Connor says, "Let's Spring Energy Gate." Is that what people are calling it? Is it the hashtag? Be a lesson to all performance nutrition manufacturers and all of us who consume their products. Yeah, it's a good point. Can't just believe everything you hear, I guess, or everything the package says.
Yeah. I was wrong. 11 hours, 19 minutes for his American record.
Okay. Remember Michael Arnstein had a time that was like up there? He was like in number 7 or something.
12, I think.
He still is?
Or he was.
Maybe.
His fastest, it's gonna be hard for me to find. So
that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Very good. We got 2 things today. The one I think we just need to run through quickly. We had it yesterday and we didn't do it, and then today, and I think we still aren't going to do. So we'll just do the short version of it. They did a little focus group study in Copenhagen. Oh, by the way, the headline here is what got my attention. Avocados are, quote, bad and vegans are ridiculous. How we justify eating too much meat. And so this is actually not an anti-vegan article. It's talking about a focus group kind of study they did at the University of Copenhagen with Danish customers. And they basically had people, 6 focus groups. They had basically recorded conversations, I guess, about the specified topic. And that topic was about reducing meat consumption, climate friendliness and such. And apparently all 6 focus groups agreed that reducing meat consumption is one of the most effective ways to make eating more climate friendly. I mean, that alone is interesting to me. I kind of thought there would be a lot of objection to that statement by people who feel strongly that, meat is totally natural and good and shouldn't ever be implicated in climate problems. But anyway, they all agree with that. But then once it was acknowledged that, eating meat is a huge part of the problem, when it came time to say, okay, who's going to actually change how they eat because of this, it turned into all these kind of interesting, I don't want to say excuses, because I'm not saying that they all should do that, but just interesting justifications for not being vegan. And apparently it went to there was a tendency for them to shame avocados as being climate unfriendly and scold vegans for being extremists. We've talked about that before, this tendency of, I don't know who Piers Morgan does it. They say they find a vegan food that is bad for the environment when it is overconsumed. And then they say, therefore, vegans, you're wrong. It's not this meat that's the problem. It's not all this. It's the almonds or it's the avocados or whatever. And so they did that bit. They also, as we said, they said vegans were extremists. Let's see. One participant said they blamed a partner. He said, I don't eat climate friendly foods, unfortunately. I try, but I have a partner who's against it. He wants meat. Let's see. They said some said there was a biological need for meat. Some said meals without meat just aren't filling. And I mean, to me, those are valid. I don't know if there's a biological need, but I think some people can believe that for sure. It's not just a made up excuse. And meals without meat just aren't filling. I think you could make that argument. It's different. To me, I end up eating more smaller meals because you don't stay full for the same amount of time. And in many ways, that feels like a good thing. But I do believe that one. So anyway, they did that. And then the next move was can we talk about plastic and food waste instead? Says the subheadline here. They would quickly derail the topic and begin talking about other things, such as how they seek to avoid food waste and plastic packaging. And I definitely see that one all the time when I talk to people. Usually they bring up me being vegan. I don't tend to talk to people about it almost at all, if I can help it. But when I get into that conversation, then they go to the thing that they do. And they say, yeah, I don't do that because I like cheese too much or whatever, but I'm really careful about this. And whatever. And in this case, to talk about food waste and plastic packaging, I don't get into environment conversations, honestly, either with people. So I haven't had that specific example. But I hear people tell me about Whole Foods and how they, do whatever. So
grass-fed and all that stuff.
Yeah. All that. And honestly, when they do, I usually just celebrate that common ground and I say, yeah, that's good. And I think you can be healthy eating a lot of plants and a little bit of meat, and we leave it at that. To me, that is how I navigate that stuff. So yeah, I mean that's it. Then they conclude with politicians need to message more clearly about this. I don't know. Any thoughts here, Doug? I mean, anything else to say about this? We had something before that was not that different from this, some psychology journal article. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's not surprising. Just sort of interesting to see that science is backing up what you sort of see all the time in conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that people probably do this with just about everything, not just not food and climate, but exercise or mental health or whatever. You kind of you just make excuses, or you try to find that one thing that you do, or that one time you did meditate and you bring that up and you're like, oh yeah, I have that app or whatever, and kind of justify not going all in. And because it's hard, right? I mean, it's an inconvenience to go plant-based.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's unfortunate, but that's where we are.
Yeah, and I think partly maybe that's why it's the biggest thing most people can do if they really wanted to help the environment. It's the biggest thing because it's the one where people don't want to do it, right? We're left with this. If there was a bunch of other worse things, many of them perhaps have been stopped or curtailed at least. But you get to a point where people don't want to do one of them, and that will end up being what is the next most impactful thing. Garuda says eating less meat does not help the climate. The biggest food waste is potatoes, fruits, and veggies. We need less cropland. We need to grow less crops. And then Jessica brings up I've seen this exact conversation play out all the time. Jessica says a lot of arable land is used to feed livestock, grazing and growing corn, soy to feed the animals, not very efficient. I don't know. I never hear a response to that one. I hear the people raise the thing. It's crops. It's the soy and the stuff is growing. And then people say, well, or vegans say, well, that goes to the animals. So much of it. And then it always seems that the conversation ends there. I don't see data coming forth to show who's right in that situation.
Right.
But anyway, Garuda says it's wasted in restaurants and grocery stores the most.
It's probably because there's the most of it. Right?
The most what?
I mean, there's more non-meat. There's more crops on a plate, even than meat, even, anywhere, right? I mean, like you have a steak and then you have vegetables and potatoes. You have a hamburger and you have buns and fries and tomatoes. And
right. Okay. Yeah. So on a human plate, what is mostly there is not meat. It's crops. And if there's going to be food waste, then what's going to be wasted is whatever there's the most of, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. I'm still interested in how much of the crops do go to animals versus people, because I'd like to know if there's any validity to that argument that you see all the time. So I don't know. Anyway, people are continuing that conversation. Let's hit the last one here, just because I put that as the title. People Magazine is getting into the plant-based realm with the story. Whenever they do that, it's worth covering for us because they're People Magazine. That's mainstream and I don't know, significant in that way. Doug, I was once in People Magazine for they reprinted the Sports Illustrated Best Health and Wellness books of 2017. It was that long ago. It was my glory, my peak.
Your peak.
And it got on People, and it felt like kind of cheating because it wasn't really a People, it was Sports Illustrated, but still went on People. And I showed my mom, and she was proud because she was always a People Magazine reader. So anyway,
that's great. Next up, Time Person of the Year. You got this.
Yeah,
Matt.
right. Exactly. Yeah, I think I missed the window for that though. That should have been like that year would have been my best chance. Anyway, I don't know what else People's done in the meantime about plant-based stuff. I'm sure they've had some articles, but that's the only other one I remember. This, though, is their 5 best new plant-based products in grocery stores this year. I don't know why they are covering this. It just doesn't seem like a People thing, but this is part of their People Food Awards.
So when I was pulling up this article, I noticed that they have a couple different categories. It's like all products in grocery stores, and there's plant-based, and there's a couple other categories. So this is just one of the categories. But
okay. So there's a big food awards thing, and they do give a little nod to plant-based by doing plant-based stuff, which is good. I'll take it. Their picks are interesting, and I don't know what the methodology was for choosing these products, but we'll go through them real quick. They're quick things. Number 1, best veggie burger, Dr. Prager's is their pick. Best. I mean, I just can't imagine this is better than like a Beyond Burger as far as like seeming like a burger. So that's obviously not what they're going for. It's their crunchy Southwestern sweet potato made with 6 different veggies. So best certainly must include health here when they say best, because this, I don't know, it looks pretty good. It looks like a good crispy thing. It says it's brown rice crusted patties seasoned with smoky chipotle and barbecue sauce. So I'm not a big sweet potato fan, but I mean, I don't know. I like the fried crispy outside. That makes it seem kind of appetizing.
Yeah, I would definitely choose this. I'm gonna seek it out because plus Southwest style, that's my jam. And it's 6 for $4 or 4 for $6, which is not bad.
That's good. You can't get Beyond or Impossible for that price. That's for sure. And this, you're actually eating plants. You're not eating, lab grown food, as Garuda would call it. Even though I can't quite call that lab grown. But number 2, more in that latter category. Best plant-based hot dog. They're saying Oscar Mayer, already it.
Wow.
With a nice snap that cooks up plump and juicy on the grill. The meat alternative sausages won over their staffers, and it says they have the same taste and texture as real meat. That was a quote from somebody. I wondered where they got it. Their link says buy it. $6 for 4 hot dogs at oscarmayer.com. And first I thought that seemed kind of cheap, and then I realized that's the same price as all the vegan sausages and things that I ever buy.
Yeah,
so the Beyond ones and all that.
That's because you're gonna eat 2 of those for sure.
What do you say? You're
gonna eat 2 of those for sure.
Maybe it just depends what you're doing. If you're at a cookout, then yeah, that's all you're eating. But if you have sides and things and regular part of your dinner, one might do all right.
I'm eating 3. I'll be honest. I'm eating 3.
You're eating 3. Okay. All right. Well,
I really want to try these though. So if anyone knows where you can find them, let us know.
yeah, I do too. I mean, same taste and texture as real meat. What else is there? That's like the two big categories. I guess there's smell, but that influences taste. So if it tastes the same, it has the same texture, it's going to be very, very similar. I'd like to see the ingredient list. Probably could find that. But yeah, I'd love to try these. I like that Oscar Mayer putting their brand behind it, all that trust. By the way, they're made with the Not Co. The Not hot dog is what they call it. So anyway, if anyone's tried that, I'd love to hear about it. I still don't know where you get them. Okay. Number 3, best alternative milk, Planet Oat oat milk. I've been seeing this brand more now, but never in stores. They're saying buy it $4 for 52 ounces at Walmart. 52 ounces, that's a regular size, I guess half-gallon carton, or is that a 1 gallon? That's a 1 gallon carton.
So this is the barista blend, the barista lovers blend.
Oh, okay. And so you would use it for coffee, or is it just
thick enough to be frothed up for at-home lattes, or used as a swap for whole dairy milk and baking recipes?
Okay, so not just to be poured in cereal or drunk on its own.
I would personally not do that. I don't think.
I mean, it's a large amount to be selling for that sort of uses they're talking about, but I do believe you. I mean, you don't want your milk to be too thick.
I mean, probably like any sort of coffee creamer. If you just put it in lattes and creamer baked with it. Yeah. I mean, okay. So on the package, it looks like there is some cereal there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Have you heard of this brand before? I mean, I know you've heard of it, but is this a meaningful brand to you?
They're at Ingles. Yep. Okay. Never had it, honestly.
Yeah, I wish I knew about this whole system. I wish I knew did they really get a bunch of ratings and things, or did they just see which companies had sponsored them recently or whatever and just pick a few? But anyway, moving on. Number 4, this is interesting to me. The best vegan meal period is the Blue Zone's Kitchen, crafted for longevity. Their heirloom rice bowl, which has kale, tomato, red beans, sweet potato, and Carolina gold rice. Delicious and filling without weighing you down, says a staffer. $8 at Whole Foods Market for some grains, beans, and veggies. I mean, I like Blue Zone's idea. There's not a whole lot of consuming of frozen things in the Blue Zones. At least as I know that. That's kind of my problem. There's a little bit of a mismatch here. When I think Blue Zones, I think of cooking up a meal like this in my kitchen, and it's cheaper than $8 per person to do that for sure, and probably better tasting. So I don't know. I don't think I'll ever get the Blue Zones meal so much as I like them. I don't think I'll go buy the frozen stuff. But I didn't know this existed. Doug, you into this?
I
night for this?
I knew they had frozen meals.
Okay, but you haven't tried one.
I have not tried one, and $8 for that, I'm not gonna buy it, honestly.
Yeah, no, you probably eat that, and then you're still gonna eat two Oscar Mayer hot dogs to feel full.
Exactly. All right, number 5.
Number 5, a little bit redundant, considering they picked the barista blend for number 3. Best dairy-free creamer is the category, and it was not that almond milk. It was Califia Farms organic almond creamer. So creamer would be thicker, I guess, than your typical milk.
Yep. And you wouldn't froth it up. You just pour it in.
Oh, okay.
This is their lavender flavor.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know people did that with coffee. I knew they might make a tea that way. And I guess you could use this in a tea. But anyway, subtle floral finish, velvety consistency, and indulgent and sophisticated flavors. Look at that. Califia Farms. No gum, no oil. What's that, Doug?
I like Califia Farms.
Yeah, I know. I've heard you talk about them before. I have seen a few TV commercials of theirs, or I guess they're maybe YouTube. I don't know. Since we talked about it a year or two ago, but I really just don't see this much in the stores or anything. Never had it.
They have this like latte drink. That's been essential or a big ingredient in my my 100-mile success.
Oh yeah, you told me that. So it's like a pre-made coffee drink.
With probably that creamer or something like it, and then cold brew. And
where do you get it? 7-Eleven?
You can definitely get it at Whole Foods. Probably at Ingles. That's where I got it the first time. Yeah, I mean, it tastes really good, and it's like it's full of sugar, and I mean, it's not something I would want to drink every day. That's for sure.
Right.
It could not be my morning coffee. Way too many calories, way too much sugar, but it's very tasty, and it's good at 4 a.m. after you've been running for 60 miles.
Yeah, right. For sure. I could see, I believe that. Good. I usually stick to the Starbucks brand when I'm going to buy some sort of instant or ready-made coffee solution like that.
What do you get?
What do I get?
Yeah.
I don't know, Starbucks cold brew can or something like that.
Okay.
Or
I didn't
don't
know
really-
they had any vegan ones.
Yeah, just cold brew can is just straight up coffee. Yeah, I had this memory of drinking their like a latte thing from them, but now I don't think it was. Maybe does Illy make that? No, I don't know. But no, it definitely wasn't Starbucks then. If they don't make a vegan one, yeah, I don't know.
You know what I like about this list is that 2 of the 5 are, mostly, I don't want to say whole food based, but they're, real food based, which is nice.
That's Blue Zones and
In the Dr.
Dr.
Friggers.
Break. The milks, the milk,
Yeah,
milk and the creamer, they're kind of pretty close. Especially Califia, no gums, no oils. I don't know. I mean, it's probably just then nuts and water. Yeah, you're right. It's good. Somebody points out, Kate, it says if it's People Magazine, it's probably paid placement. Honestly, that's not how No Meat Athlete Cookbook got in though. We didn't pay anything for that. All organic, baby. Just cream rises to the top. Garuda says creamer in coffee is basically sugary seed juice mixed into hot and bitter bean juice. I guess if you're talking about plant-based creamer. Yeah, it's a hot take.
Hot take. I just did a little Googling here. And this is not definitive. This is Agriculture Fairness Alliance. I have no idea who they are. My guess is they're leaning somewhere. But according to them, because there's a lot of debate right now about where what crops are being grown for humans versus agriculture or versus animal agriculture. Roughly 77 million acres of American cropland are used to grow plant foods that Americans eat, while 128 million acres are grown for livestock.
Okay.
So about 85% more land is being used in America. U.S. land is being used to grow crops for livestock than it is for American diets.
Yeah. That's a big number. So yeah, I don't know. Garuda, you got to respond now. On that, well, not exactly the same topic, but Greg Green, I've said this before. Greg Green is maybe aligned with Garuda in some of these arguments, because he says something that I've heard Garuda say many times. Ironic that many of the blue zones eat animal-based food, and yeah, I guess the ironic part would be that made it into a plant-based list. But I'm pretty sure the Blue Zones brand, and this I wouldn't say is irony, this is strategy probably. The Blue Zones brand they're pretty much a plant-based brand now. And I think they probably decided that because, like we've said, with this flexitarian thing, which to me is very similar to a Blue Zones style diet, like at its best, a flexitarian thing would be basically Blue Zones, where you have a little bit of meat here and there. But that, we've said, that doesn't seem to take off because it's not defined what it is. And I think Dan Buettner is a little bit of a friend of ours. I haven't ever asked him about this, but I'm guessing they've become plant-based as their brand because it's just hard. You're just hard to find people to sell anything to, or to get attention from if you're not like easily put in a category of like we're carnivore or we're paleo or we're keto or we're vegan. So like they pick that because it's close to that, and I don't fault them for that. But yeah, that is what is going on there, I think. Anyway,
hold on a little bit more here. Vox has a global map of crops grown for food versus animal feed and fuel. So, and globally here, 55% of the world's crop calories are directly eaten by people. 36 for animal feed, and 9 goes towards biofuels and industrial uses. So that's a little bit better globally. But also, if you look at the map in the United States, it's mostly feed and fuel, and not calories that being used.
Right. Gotcha.
So Africa a lot of their cropland tends to go towards food.
All right.
And India.
There we go.
I think that's India. All right. There you go.
All right. Good. Yeah, there's more here. People are responding to stuff. Gregory, Jessica, Garuda. But we got to end it. So, all right, cool. Thanks everyone for coming. We'll be back tomorrow. This one will be our last show of the week. There's no Friday show this week. I go to Virginia Beach, so unavailable for Friday. But yeah, so come tomorrow. Good reason to be here tomorrow. 11 a.m. Eastern time, as always, on Tuesday through Thursday. Appreciate all the conversation. Appreciate the different viewpoints. I want to make that clear. I don't at all mind that people do not all agree in the comments. That is a good thing in my opinion. So thank you to everyone who has opinions. Yeah, that's it. Have a good Wednesday, everyone. Hump day. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. See you then.
Goodbye. You didn't make it. Are you making faces?
Same mouth gesture, Matt. Every time.
No, I didn't. I didn't put my hands up and act like surprised.
Oh yeah, you didn't do that. Yeah.
I just went. I didn't. I need to think of an emotion to portray.
Okay.
All right.